I recently graduated high school, and in my language finals, I studied everything for speech analysis. All the stylistic devices, the different kinds of arguments, all the rhetorical strategies. I felt pretty confident. But when test day came, I walked into the exam hall, sat down, opened the paper and saw poem analysis. Not speech analysis, poem analysis. It was an old poem about adventure in nature. Now all that studying felt a little bit wasted. So how did I still manage to save my grades? What eventually happened is I tried to apply everything I studied from speech analysis to poem analysis. That way I could at least say something and hopefully save my grades. And it worked. I noticed how towards the end of the poem, the feelings got stronger and built up to a climax, just like arguments in a speech are organized from weakest to strongest. I noticed that because at the beginning, words like earth and house were used, which stood for quieter, calmer feelings, while towards the end, words like God and the heavens were used, which stood for higher, bigger emotions. In the same way, I recognized how in the second verse, the speaker would weaken the opposite feeling of wanting to stay at home and not go out into nature by saying, the one who stays at home doesn't see the sunrise. That's the same rhetorical tactic used in speeches when a speaker invalidates the counter-arguments. Only here it wasn't counter-arguments, but counter-emotions. So it went on and on and on. I reversed everything I knew and understood about speech analysis and applied it to this poem. That's why I call it reverse application. As a result, I passed the test I would have otherwise failed. While I didn't ace the tests, I saved it. I passed it. Now imagine what this could do if you didn't apply it accidentally like I did, but purposefully. For example, you can connect and learn all the different subjects in school more easily when you don't focus on the exact contents of each subject, but on the underlying skills that connect them. How you learn a language applies to all foreign languages you learn in school. Recognizing patterns works across all subjects too, from the historical patterns that repeat themselves to patterns of how you can approach math problems. In all analysis, whether it's cartoon analysis or speech or poem analysis, you always go from description, what do you see, what's being said, to analysis, what does that mean, what is the effect of this rhetorical device, what does this symbol represent, and so on, to interpretation, what is the message behind it all, to judgment or conclusion, was the author successful in reaching his or her goal? Was your initial hypothesis about what the poem is about correct? How does this piece of literature relate to other pieces of writing? And so on. So learn the skills for all four components of this structure once, and you can apply it to any analysis of literature that you have to make in any subject. English, politics, history, and so on. This is what I mean by reverse application. You stop studying everything and start using everything you study by learning the underlying skills and applying them everywhere they're used. As a result, you study less and get better grades. Or as in my case, you could even save your grades if you happen to have studied for the wrong topic. So this is where all subjects become more connected. But what I think is the most powerful use of this technique is you could reverse apply your natural strengths that you already have to the subjects you struggle with in school. Your hobbies like the sports you play, the arts you practice, the video games, the crafts, or even other subjects in school that you're naturally good at. You can take those strengths that you already have and transfer them to a subject you're struggling with or don't understand yet. And how you do that is by finding analogies. Let's take a look at an example. How can you explain the causes of World War I with a tennis rally? Imagine instead of doubles, you play triples. 3 players team up on each side of the court. On the left side, there's France, Britain, and Russia. And on the right side, there's Austria-Hungary, Germany, and Italy. Now the rally starts on June 28, 1914, a Serbian nationalist assassinates Austria's Archduke in Sarajevo. The ball comes into play. Then, of course, Austria attacks Serbia as a reaction to the assassination. That's the serve. But Russia had promised to protect Serbia, so Russia mobilizes and returns the serve. Germany had promised to back Austria, so Germany declares war on Russia. However, Germany's plan required attacking France first, so Germany invades France through Belgium and hits the ball to France. But Britain promised to protect Belgium, and since Germany just invaded through it, Britain steps in and joins the game. And the rally goes on for 4 years and 17 million people died in it. So this isn't the happiest outcome of a rally, but at least we can now hopefully understand the history better with this tennis analogy. So this was just one example to illustrate how it works. And this works for all subjects and topics. When you explain a topic with a fun analogy like this, that doesn't only help you understand it better, but also remember it more for an upcoming test that you might need to prepare for. And if you feel like you can't make these analogies so easily, that might be because of two possible reasons. One, sometimes there really aren't fitting analogies for things, and then you don't need reverse application, but first principles. I have made a video about that too, and it will appear in the end card in just a minute. And two, sometimes there are good analogies for things and you just haven't found them yet. That's why I developed an intuitive step-by-step process that lets you discover fitting analogies. I've illustrated that process with many examples like this tennis analogy in my ebook. It comes with a so-called super prompt that you can copy and paste into any new AI chat. And then the AI will ask you some questions about your hobbies, the subjects you're good at, and so on, and about the task or topic you're struggling with right now. And it helps you find an analogy and apply this technique of reverse application to your specific situation immediately. It's all included in the ebook, which I will link for you in the video description as well as the pinned comment below this video. And if you're not ready to buy something from someone you don't really know yet, then I'm most happy to connect with you first in the comments below this video. So when you have any questions about this technique or anything else about studying smarter in school, feel most free and invited to ask in the comments below, and I read and respond to you. And when your question deserves a whole video of its own, I will make that the next video for you. So see you in the comments and see you in the next video.